Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're diving into something pretty wild.
Definitely wild.
Yeah, we're looking at a collection of short stories by Roberto Cassano.
Oh, I like him.
He's a Brazilian sci-fi author. You might not have heard of him yet, but
You're in for a treat.
get ready to have your mind blown.
Oh.
Because Cassano's stories are absolutely jam-packed with those what-if scenarios.
The kind that really make you question, like, everything you thought you knew.
Exactly.
He's got this way of taking something totally ordinary, like everyday life.
Right.
And he just twists it into something you'd never expect.
Yeah.
Often with this, like, sharp satire and social commentary woven right in.
It's true. And speaking of unexpected, one story starts with a man getting a brain implant. Pretty standard sci-fi stuff. But here's the twist. He becomes totally convinced that entire universes exist inside the most ordinary objects.
Mm.
Like, have you ever, really ever thought about what could be inside a pinhead?
I gotta be honest, that's not something I think about too often.
Yeah, most people don't.
Not high on my list of things to ponder.
Well, Cassano might just change your mind. The story is called Parafuso Solto no chip tu cuengo,
Catchy title.
which I think roughly translates to a screw loose in the brain chip.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So in this story, we meet this guy who gets this super high-tech brain implant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's convinced that it's not just upgrading his brain, it's like opening his mind to everything.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Including, he believes entire universes exist within everyday objects. Like right there in a pin.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
Well, on the surface, it sounds completely bonkers.
Right.
Totally.
But that's where Cassano's genius shines through.
Okay.
He uses this outlandish, almost ridiculous premise to get us thinking about some really complex ideas. Like scale and perspective,
Yeah.
Like what we perceive as tiny could be unimaginably vast from a different perspective.
Right. And there's this part in the story, this aha moment, where the main character's theory, it's like this totally crazy theory, right? But it starts to kind of make sense.
Really?
In a weird way.
Right.
And it made me wonder if our understanding of the universe is so limited.
It's like we're just scratching the surface.
Exactly. What do you think? Are there things we just dismiss as impossible because they challenge what we think we know?
Without a doubt. I mean, we humans, we get so stuck in our own limited ways of seeing the world
It's true.
that we forget there could be infinite other possibilities out there.
About
So many possibilities.
stuff we can't even begin to imagine.
It's like he's reminding us to stay open to the unknown,
Mm.
even if it seems strange or even impossible at first glance.
Keep an open mind, right?
Exactly. Speaking of unexpected discoveries, let's move on to a story about something a little more, shall we say, down to earth.
Okay, I'm listening.
Snoring.
Snoring.
Yeah, sometimes the most mundane things can lead to the most extraordinary revelations. It really is a funny image when you think about it. This guy up all night, listening to his wife snore.
Right.
And not just listening, trying to decipher secret messages.
Like he's cracked some kind of cosmic code.
Right. And not just any messages, alien messages coming through his wife's snores.
It's classic Cassano, though, taking something so ordinary, so relatable.
So universal.
Exactly, and spinning it into this hilarious and thought-provoking story.
It's true. The story is called Oronco the Snore in English. And it's about this long-married couple. They're kind of settled into their routine. You know how it goes.
In there.
Usual ups and downs.
The comfort of the familiar.
Exactly. But there's one thing that sets this couple apart. The wife's snoring is legendary.
Oh, no.
And I mean legendary. The husband actually describes it as a mix of sea monsters, truck brakes, and deflating balloons all at once.
That's quite the symphony.
Right. But here's the thing. Instead of just getting earplugs or something, the husband, he starts to think these are just random noises.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah. He's convinced they're messages. And not just any messages. Alien messages.
Yeah.
Like extraterrestrial transmissions coming through his wife's snores.
Wow, what would you even do with that information?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of brilliant, though. The way Cassano takes this everyday annoyance, snoring, and turns it into a story about communication, connection, and the search for meaning in the most unexpected places.
It makes you wonder what else we might be missing in the noises around us.
Exactly. And it makes me think about all the things we do to feel connected, to find purpose, even in the mundane routines of our lives.
We're all searching for something.
We are. And speaking of searching for meaning, that reminds me of another story in this collection that really dives into that theme. It's called Os Corpos Perfeitos de Dr. Inebra, The Perfect Bodies of Dr. Inebra. And it throws us headfirst into the world of transhumanism.
Transhumanism, that's a big one. What comes to mind when you hear that word?
For me, it's all about Using technology to enhance our bodies and minds, to push beyond what we consider humanly possible. What about you? It really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, are we so focused on creating the perfect body that we forget to appreciate the beauty of just being human?
It's a good question. And it's interesting because Cassano doesn't give us easy answers. He presents us with these characters like Goretza, who chooses to age gracefully. And then we have Lynn, who wants to literally inhabit her ex-husband's body.
It's like she's trying to rewrite the past or something. Maybe become him to understand him. Or even punish him.
It's a bit unnerving when you think about the motivations there.
It is. And it makes you wonder what happens to our sense of self when we can alter our physical form so easily. Like, do we lose a part of ourselves in the process?
It's a question a lot of us are grappling with even today with things like plastic surgery and genetic engineering.
Absolutely. It's like Cassano is tapping into these very real anxieties we have about identity and technology.
And he doesn't stop there. Remember those satirical obituaries he sprinkles throughout the book?
Oh, yeah. Those were something else.
Like little glimpses into a future shaped by these technologies. And one that really stuck with me was the obituary for Feria Lima 357 Fundos, a condominium.
A condominium.
Yeah. Apparently in Cassano's future, the housing crisis is so bad that people are resorting to well-shared bodies.
You're kidding, like an entire apartment complex all crammed into one physical form.
Precisely. It's both hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
It's that classic Cassano blend, isn't it? Taking a real-world issue and cranking it up to 11.
Exactly. And in doing so, he forces us to confront the potential consequences of our choices.
So true. And on that note, I think it's time to shift gears a bit to a story that, while still exploring this intersection of technology and humanity, takes a slightly different approach.
I'm all ears.
This one is called Saudade dos Tatuas, which translates to Longing for Sand Crabs. And it's a story that really stayed with me long after I finished reading it. It's about a lab-grown brain named Mar.
A lab-grown brain.
Yeah. And even though Mar has never actually experienced the world outside the lab, he has this deep, intense yearning for the ocean.
That's fascinating, to long for something you've never even experienced firsthand.
Right. It's like this primal urge that even a lab-grown brain can't escape. And the scientist who created Mar, Dr. Barreros, he's devoted his life to this research, to pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
But in the process, it seems like he's lost sight of those simple joys, those sensory experiences that Mar craves.
It's like a cautionary tale, a reminder that even as we advance technologically, we shouldn't forget the importance of our connection to nature, to those fundamental human experiences.
Exactly. And that brings us back to this question of what it means to be human in a world increasingly dominated by technology.
It's a question that seems to run through all of Cassano's work, isn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Roberto Cassano's mind-bending stories, I'm left with this thought.
Yeah.
What do we hold on to? What are we willing to change? And what do we risk losing in the pursuit of progress?
Big questions, but important ones. And I think Cassano would agree that there are no easy answers.
Definitely not. But hopefully these stories have given you some food for thought and maybe even inspired you to check out Roberto Cassano's work for yourself.
He's a master storyteller for sure.
Absolutely. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those imaginations running wild.